Hey there guys, and welcome once again to your favorite segment, Places, only here on your longest running business and lifestyle TV magazine show. This is of course Business and Leisure, and I am Sarah Hernandez. Now the following feature centers on a relatively new concept that has been sweeping across the metropolis. If you have a passion for beer or you are a discriminating drinker of the brew, then this one's for you. Support the craft. This is what it says on the sign on the wall, and it says it all for the business that a group of young men dared to venture into. Yes, these young men are into beer, craft beer if you please, and they are passionate about it. This is Marco Viray, one of the co-owners of Joe's Brew.
I'm actually the brother of Joe. Joe is the one who makes our beer, and I pretty much handle most of the marketing and the sales part for Joe's Brew. So what Joe's Brew is, we're a local craft beer company. So craft beer meaning small batch brewing. We make beers traditionally, meaning we don't do any shortcuts, and it's nothing like your commercial beer like San Miguel or Beer na Beer. It's similar to the beers that you find usually in the US or in Europe. We're a distribution company and a craft beer maker. So we basically distribute our own products, which is Joe's Brew.
Joe's Brew has been around for only 2.5 years, but the group behind it has already successfully created its own niche in the craft beer market. As Marco narrated, it all started when his brother, Joe, or Joey as he's fondly called by family, went to the US where he took up short courses on beer making. He wasn't even thinking of it as a business venture, just indulging in a passion for beer, which they all enjoy. In short, it was meant to be a hobby.
It started as a small hobby, and then when he came back, me, Joey, and my sister, and our good friends RG Gamboa and Franco Alido decided that we want to turn this into a business. So when we started, we were just making the beers from my mom's house. So ginagawa lang namin nun sa kusina, doon na kami nagluluto ng beer. And then from there, binebenta namin yung beer namin sa food truck ng mom ko. She has her food truck that goes around, so we sold the beers there until we got some attention from restaurant owners and bar owners. And then we started supplying bars slowly. So the business from a home business grew. And so what we did was we increased our equipment at home. We opened we created a small house at the backyard. Doon namin ginagawa yung beers. Until recently, our demand has been growing. We started creating, bigger batches, which you can see in this equipment. This is where we make it now. So this is very new. We did our research, so we got some equipment from China, sent it over here to the Philippines, and then we constructed this along with our tasting room downstairs. So our tasting room is more like a showroom where people can drink the beers fresh and try out all the different variants we have.
In the 2.5 years that they have been in the business, they never had a brick and mortar store where they can sell their brew. They were merely a supplier to bars and restaurants, but now Joe's Brew has over 70 clients who regularly order from them. They were among the pioneers in craft beer here in the Philippines.
The whole craft beer scene, if you guys are familiar, it's actually, it's very big now in the US. It started about 15 years ago, and it took some time for it to basically follow here in Southeast Asia. We never thought about it as a business. It was more of a passion project. Joey had talent in creating beers, and so we just decided that since the beers were good, it's a new business, it's very innovative. We wanted to get into that, and so far so good. So.
The restaurant and bar scene in the Philippines is obviously growing, and as it does, customers have become more demanding, more discriminating, and this goes for their beverage of choice as well, beer included. Craft beer makers target this discriminating market. This is where these new breed of beer drinkers should go to get a taste of good craft beer. Marco's family resides in Poblacion, so they decided to stay in the area with their pioneering business because it is their neighborhood. This is where all the variants of Joe's Brew can be tasted, even the ones that are still in the experimental stage.
Downstairs, basically, it's basically what we kind of like what we thought of what we would want in a man cave. So it's steampunk inspired. So most of the stuff downstairs that you'll find are basically exposed pipes, lights that we ordered from abroad. We even have a plane, a model plane downstairs because it also pays homage to one of the beer variants. We have 34th Pursuit, which is an old World War II squadron, and it's very cozy. It's not that big. It's small. We can only accommodate up to 20 people, the most. But it's basically, part of the experience in going to Joe's Brew is not just to see the machinery, not just to see the process, but also to try the beers. So downstairs would be the place for anyone who wants to come over and visit us to try all the beers that we've made and pretty much also try out different types of beers na we're kind of experimenting on. So it's also our way to get research. Our products are mainly craft beer, but right now we have 5 different variants. So we have our Fish Rider Pale Ale, Sierra Madre Wheat Ale, Soothsayer Pale Ale, our 34th Pursuit IPA, and our Sunsweeper Double IPA. Okay, so our Fish Rider Pale Ale is our very first beer. So when we first started, when we were still cooking sa bahay namin, sa kusina ng nanay namin, basically yun yung pinakaunang beer na ginawa namin. It's a pale ale, so it's not as light as compared to your, let's say, San Miguel beer. It's very tasty. We use caramel malts, so it kind of gives some a caramel finish to the beer, and at the same time, it has some hints of grapefruit. So that was really the first beer that we made. It's a copper-colored beer.
Joe's Brew is also now dispensing non-alcoholic crafted beverages like ginger ale and their very own root beer or sarsaparilla. We are going down now to the tasting room, the heart and soul of Joe's Brew.
Dito sa tasting room namin, we basically serve the beers in 3 different glasses. We have our tasting glass. So this one, if you order a beer flight, it comes with 4 glasses of different types of beers of your choice. Next one is, kung alam mo na yung gusto mong beer, you can either get a regular glass, which is about 380 ml. And then this one is about 550 ml, so we call this a pint glass. And then in terms of the variants, as I've mentioned, we have our 5 core products, which is the Fish Rider, our Sierra Madre, Soothsayer Pale Ale, 34th Pursuit IPA, and Sunsweeper. And then aside from that, meron kami mga experimental brews, yung mga sinusubukan lang namin na we don't really sell to our clients, to restaurants and bars. So we just sell them here. So we have right now a Poblacion Common. So it's the local Poblacion beer, very light, easy to drink. And then we also have our Kolsch. So it's a German Kolsch, so it's a style of beer na we just kind of experimented on.
This is where you get to taste and compare their different variants. Note how big their tasting glasses are. RG Gamboa, one of the co-owners, joined us here.
Regular glass, that's 160. The pint would cost around 260. It's really the beer. Depends the variants, because the thing with the different variants of beers we have, everyone has different tastes. So it really depends on the one who's, on the preference of the person. So halo-halo. Pero so far yung Fish Riders been our best seller. Yeah.
And this is the man whose name appears on all the bottles of their beer, Joe, their beer maker. So in a nutshell, he's going to be describing the elaborate setup that they have down here in this man's cave and the precise process they go through to come out with Joe's Brew.
This is the process of brewing. So first we crack the grains, the malts, and then we put it here, the mash tun. We steep it for an hour, And then this is where we convert starch into sugars, fermentable sugars. And then this tank is for boiling, which we add the hops to have more flavor and to get the bitterness and aroma out. And then it goes straight here to the cooling system. It cools down the wort. The wort is a young beer, and then it goes straight to the fermenting tanks, and then that's where we pitch the yeast. It sits there for 3 weeks, and we're good to go. Rider ngayon, after nito, na-keg na namin siya na bote, so ibang variety naman, ibang style naman ng beer. After dito, diretso na siya dito sa keg, yung keg namin. Tapos, bottling na.
This is the keg that Joe talked about. It holds about 50 330 ml bottles of craft beer. And according to Marco, there are about 9 known craft beer makers in the country. But what makes them different?
Okay, well, what made us different is, one is, our passion for the beers. I know everyone's passionate, pero, with us, we work 24/7. We gave up our 9-to-5 jobs to work full-time brewing beer and creating different recipes that cater to the Filipinos. Aside from that, we also don't save on any of the ingredients. So all the ingredients that we have are premium quality. We still ship it ourselves. We get it all directly from the US or in Australia. And it's also the taste of our brewer, so the talent that our brewer has, because all the recipes are from him. It's all original, and we also try to basically infuse local fermentable fruits to some of our beers, and that's pretty much, I think, what our competitive advantage is.
Price ranges from about 120 pesos to 175 per bottle of Joe's Brew. So you'll have to taste it to know just exactly what Marco Viray is talking about. But don't fret, because he is personally inviting you to come and taste it.
All right, so I'd like to invite everyone to come join us here at Joe's Brew in Poblacion. You can reach us through our email at info@joesbrew.com, or simply give us a call at 4700. That's 400-0700. You can come here, taste the beers, see how it's made. We're also going to be offering courses for avid homebrewers. So if you're someone who wants to learn how to make beers, please come here. We have courses for that. And then for the restaurants and bars, or whoever who just wants to get our beers, please feel free to reach out. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you.
And now it is our turn to thank you guys for bringing Joe's Brew into the Philippine market. Now we know how good craft beer should taste like, and now we know where to go. Thank you so much, you guys, and that's another great discovery for all you beer lovers out there. So make sure to come back again next time for another food destination in the Metro. This is Sarah Hernandez, and I'll see you guys very soon.